Fighting is all about sacrifices. The life of any professional athlete is restrictive. But when a mixed martial artist decides to take the next step and turn their hobby into a career, everything changes.
Feel the tension in the air. Take a breath and say a prayer.
From dieting to grueling training and conditioning sessions, mixed martial artists put their body on the line every single day in pursuit of glory. It is a lifelong commitment that separates MMA fighters from even the top athletes in other sports. When a part-time fighter decides to dedicate himself to his craft on a full-time basis, choices have to be made, extreme measures have to be taken, and a daily grind must be embraced.
It's taken your whole life to overcome your fears. Now
Brave CF lightweight top contender Amin Ayoub. The crossroads came early into his life, more precisely at 16. After completing the basic cycle of school, he was confronted with the choice to continue his studies or to leave it all behind for the dream of becoming a mixed martial arts world champion. He didn't hesitate to take the longer, more winding road. 9 years later, his dream is one fight away from becoming a reality. In his way stands a massive figure. One that has made many sacrifices as well. A towering 6'2" lightweight, the man they call Predator.
As artes marciais me deram um propósito, sim. Como eu disse, o propósito de querer ser o melhor, de querer evoluir mais, de querer ser o campeão de evento grande, de querer dar em destaque, sabe?
Born in a poor neighborhood in southeast Brazil, Clayton was raised by the streets and saved by martial arts. In order to make ends meet, he has done it all, taking various jobs to keep his own dream of a world title alive. In August of 2019, that dream turned into a reality, putting on the performance of a lifetime. The perennial underdog shocked the world, beating arch-rival Luan Santiago and earning himself a place in Brave CF and MMA folklore.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are looking at the new Great Combat Federation lightweight champion of the world.
Now, a young contender awaits, hungry for victory and willing to make the same sacrifices he made to get where he's at.
I would never give up in the cage, so I'd not let my opponents breathe.
As Brave Combat Federation, the fastest growing MMA organization in the world, returns to its home in the Kingdom of Bahrain, lightweight world champion Clayton Predator Silva will put his title on the line against challenger Amin Fierceness Ayoub in the main event of Brave CF 44. These are two stories of sacrifices, of difficult choices and hardships. On November 5th, these stories will clash inside the cage and a new narrative will be born. The story of the ultimate sacrifice. The story of a world champion. The road to Brave CF 44. It is not an exaggeration to say that fighting saved Clayton Silva. Not only did it make him leave the streets, it also gave him a purpose and a meaning to life. Clayton was born in the outskirts of Belo Horizonte, in a poor and dangerous neighborhood. Known as a hothead in his area, Clayton would often get into fights growing up, and his family was afraid that his temper would land him in big trouble. An uncle intervened and sent him to karate lessons. It would change his life. Despite being beaten up repeatedly in his first days on the mat, he kept coming back, showing a resilience that would serve him well throughout his professional career. Amin Ayoub, on the other hand, had his first contact with martial arts in a different scenario. Born and raised in France, the French-Tunisian fierceness had a normal childhood, but had difficulties concentrating in school. He found kickboxing and instantly fell in love with the sport. After being introduced to MMA, his passion turned into an obsession and made him quit school to work full-time towards a fighting career. It was a difficult choice, but one that had to be made. Predator, meanwhile, had to cut a deal with his parents after they caught him skipping class to train. They would leave him alone to pursue his fighting dream as long as he got his high school diploma. Immediately after graduation, Clayton started his road towards MMA, with a few stops along the way to compete in Muay Thai, his first passion. After earning several titles, but having difficulty making ends meet, Silva decided to switch to MMA full-time. It was a sacrifice to leave the sport he loved behind, but he knew he would find more success in mixed martial arts. But it wasn't as easy as he predicted.
Quando eu decidi virar lutador profissional, investir mesmo na carreira, tinha que trabalhar, porque só dar aula não dava. Aí, como eu tenho certeza que a maioria de nós lutadores passa por isso, é ser segurança, velho.
Silva has had to balance his fighting career with side jobs throughout his adult life. His Brave CF debut came at a time when Clayton was almost ready to quit MMA. He was frustrated with the lack of fights he was being given, which was aggravated by a loss he believes didn't happen. He had options to work in other jobs, but persevered. The contract with Brave CF was the breath of fresh air his career needed and made him motivated to give it his best.
Give it up for Clayton Predator Silva! Going wild out here as Clayton Silva makes his way towards the cage. 12-2, they call him the Predator. Fighting at a full house here at Bella Horizon. Half of his wins coming by TKO or KO. And he's coming off of a loss right now after an 8-fight winning streak. So, big matchup here for the Predator, Clayton Silva. Showing his wares here and a big strike. I'm going to get trouble. You talk about some blood just from the sprawl. Clayton Silva. Whoa, look at that throw by Clayton Silva right over the top. A lot of tricks he can go to, but look at that quick sprawl there by the Predator. Clayton Silva already showing his passion and heart between the both of them. We'll have to see in the replay exactly how it went down, but there's a lot of blood right now. My goodness. You can't see.
He's saying he can't see. Referee's trying to get contact.
Fight's over.
And he calls it.
Fight's over. Anytime you say you can't see, there you go.
Winner
Clayton
by
Silva.
TKO, Clayton Predator Silva!
It's what you do with it after. That's exactly what you do. Inside of the elbow, in the chin. And now he'll swap from side to side. Now he goes to the other side. He controls the... There he's got him.
It's over!
J-Lo fought that hard. Credit him.
Credit to J-Lo, he fought it as hard as he could. 1, 2, third time was not a charm for him.
After 2 big stoppage wins under the Brave CF banner, Silva was given the chance of a lifetime, a shot at the coveted lightweight world title. Before him stood his arch rival, the then champion Luan Miao Santiago. The two exchanged heavy trash talk in the build-up, forging an unforgettable rivalry in Brazilian MMA. However, when they squared off, Clayton made it look easy and tapped Luan out in the first minute of their main event fight at Brave CF 25.
The challenger trying to shake it in.
Unbelievable!
That's underneath the chin. There's no way he can do this.
My God!
In the very first round, in his home town, the champion might go out. This looks super deep.
Over the body, pressure on the trachea.
He tapped. It's all over.
Over!
Ladies and gentlemen, you are looking at the new Great Combat Federation lightweight champion of the world.
It was the coronation of years of hard work, dedication, and sacrifice. Little did he know, his next foe was watching from a distance.
Sensação assim, não tem nem o que falar, né, cara? Foi inexplicável, foi algo assim. A sensação de missão cumprida, sabe? Na hora que ele veio com o cinturão assim, eu olhei porque cinturão, ele colocando o cinturão, olhei pra cara dele, olhei pra cara do meu mestre assim, falei, é nosso, cara, a sensação foi a melhor que se. Não tem como descrever, foi algo maravilhoso. Foi uma realização mesmo de um sonho ali, de ter um cinturão de um grande evento. Foi algo assim que, cara, que até hoje a gente agradece muito a Deus por tudo que aconteceu ali.
When I was kids, I had too much energy. I was in trouble at school as well. So I think the school wasn't for me, you know. So I looking for find good sports, and I find K1 sport. So I start by K1. So I start my martial arts MMA. When I did K1 in my gym, somebody come to me and told me, hey, Amin, do you want to practice MMA? And I replied to him, hey, what is MMA? And he told me to watch Pride, you know, maybe 10 years ago. So I watched Pride and I loved that when I see that. So I wanted to try MMA. When I tried my first lesson of MMA, I loved that. So I started MMA when I was 15 years old.
While Clayton worked his way up the Brave CF ladder, Amin Ayoub was making a name for himself in the Arab world, capturing several titles in local promotions and building up towards a contract of his own. Finally, at Brave CF 31, he made his promotional debut, traveling to South Africa to take on feared striker Jamil Chan, the man who owns the record of fastest knockout in Brave CF history at only 29 seconds. Unfazed by his opponent's history, Ayoub stayed calm throughout and bided his time until he found an opening. Locking in a fight-ending guillotine choke, he knew the win would get him closer to his goal.
Oh, there's the top! It's over!
And that was a tap! Tap! Fight is over!
Amin versus Ayoub put absolutely everything.
Now, Ayoub is one step away from claiming the biggest honor of his life as a martial artist, to prove that all the sacrifices he made for the last 9 years were worth it. In front of him, the biggest challenge of his career. A man who hunts down his opponents like a predator. A man who has conquered the most difficult division in MMA. In order to prepare for Clayton, Amin has set a picture of the champion in his home and looks at it every day to remind him of his end goal.
Okay, Brave Nation. So now we are in my room and we can see 2 goals of my life. So first one is the belt of the Brave, held by Clayton Silva, the man who I will beat him.
and the second one is the map of the world. You know why I put this in my room? It's because when I wake up every day, this is my dreams. I want to leave the France. I want to see all the place in the world. This is why I put it.
Meu fã. Ele tá montando meu fã lá na França, ele é o meu fã número 1 francês. É isso aí, velho. Eu vou fazer o seguinte. Depois que eu bater em você, dar no seu prêmio, eu vou pegar uma foto minha, com cinturão, e vou autografar e vou mandar pra você. Você põe do lado lá, você coloca lá o fã-clube do Predador em Paris, na França. Em Mônaco, né? Em Mônaco, acho que é onde é que você mora, sei lá, um lugar assim.
Cara, minha cunhada achou, velho, numa loja e mandou pra mim. As espadas foi um aluno meu que fez.
For Clayton, defending his title is as important as becoming a world champion. It's a validation of the sacrifices he had to make to stay on the course, to not drift away from martial arts. For Amin, the title will be a definitive response for those who didn't believe he could make it, who said he should remain in school and not pursue martial arts.
Sometimes, you know, when I have to cut my weight, it's not easy, you know, to eat together because I can eat only vegetables and something clean food, you know. But my wife, sometimes she don't want to eat that, you know, so we cannot go to restaurant. We have to stay at home and eat clean, you know.
C'est papa. T'as fait la nuit à côté de papa.
You know, when I live in Bulgaria to make training camp for 2 weeks, my last girl have just 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, and I leave to Bulgaria for 2 weeks training camp. So it was hard for my wife because she was alone. So it was not easy for her, but it's okay. It's life, the fight life, you know. We have to do that.
The sacrifices that both men have had to make speak volumes about the difficulties of fighting at a world-class level.
Il a très bien travaillé sur le plan technico-tactique. Il s'est préparé physiquement. C'est un dur au mal mentalement. Il est prêt.
I'm one of the sparring partners of Amin Ayub, Fierceness, and he's in preparation for his next fight, world title fight. And he's in very good shape, like he's a Tunisian shape, you know, very good. And I'm gonna make a lazy prediction, you know, lazy king prediction. It's gonna be for me it's gonna end in the 3rd round for Amin Ayub. He's gonna win with a TKO, knockout, or you know, his opponent gonna abandon. So, like his nickname is Fierceness, so he's gonna go to war, and I think his opponent is not ready for war.
Que eu posso falar é que esperem que vocês vão ver a melhor versão do Predador, tá? Ele tá muito bem preparado para essa luta.
Amin is a great person with a big heart. He's a fantastic athlete. For me, this is one of the greatest fighter of the world, and he worked a lot. He has a great determination. He wants only victory and belt.
You're ready. You're ready. Okay?
Yeah.
Next jump.
Many people try, only a few get there. On November 5th, two of the best lightweights on the planet collide to show the world what they are made of. Their stories will clash, and only one of them will leave with a happy ending and a championship belt. Brave CF 44 will be a crowning moment for the sport as the fastest growing MMA organization in the world returns to its home in the Kingdom of Bahrain. In the main event, world champion Clayton Predator will look to validate his title reign with the first defense of his crown. And top contender Amin Ayoub will try to prove the doubters that his choices and sacrifices were all worth it. All signs point to the Kingdom of Bahrain, where a lightweight clash of epic proportions will decide the future of the division. There can only be one champion. There can only be one road to glory. There can only be one.